What does it take for us to build workplaces and a world that is fit for the future? A question that plagues many a leader and many an organization. How do we learn from our experiences? Are we shaping ourselves and our workplaces to be fit for the future? What does it take to invest in people and nurture success? How do we ensure that our investments in diversity, equity, and inclusion are delivering to the intended goals? Are we seeing the very invisible responsibility that most employees carry, that of being caregivers? What does it take to build a caregiver friendly workplace? Are leaders caregivers? What can leaders and organizations learn from caregivers and their experiences? How do we create safe spaces that enable inclusion? Is this something that is holding, especially women, back from the C-suite? We are delighted to bring to you a series of conversations around the idea of building future-fit corporates. Today, I have with me Vijay Krishnamani, who is a trusted advisor, and I'm going to introduce him. Welcome, Vijay. Vijay is a trusted advisor who helps leverage technology to solve complex business challenges and build strong relationships with clients. And over the past 20 plus years, Vijay has cultivated a passion for understanding both stated and unstated client needs, translating them into innovative solutions that deliver measurable value. His ability to disrupt the status quo and understand business needs has been instrumental in driving success. He is a passionate advocate for social causes with a special focus on disability. To welcome Vijay for this conversation, because a few weeks ago we had a conversation with Vikram, and Vikram and Vijay happened to be brothers. So, in many ways, caregivers to each other. Welcome, Vijay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It was such a pleasant surprise to hear from you about taking part in your series of conversations. And as I told you, I was seeing the video of Vikram, my brother. He's my elder brother. And there is an age gap of about 6 years. So thanks to your call, I actually got to hear quite a few new things about my brother. Because my brother is by coming by nature a very quiet, very
Yes.
unassuming person. And of course, the age gap is also there. He will always consider himself to be way more mature than me. And so over the years, many things he has not told me. I got to hear through your podcast about his work-life balance, about the difficulties he faced in his career, about all the experiences, about the experiences with our mother, and so many other things. So it's such a wonderful conversation. So when you told me to take part in it, I was very keen to take part.
You know, Vijay, I have known of you and I have known of Vikram. Of course, we are also friends. And Vikram has been a great friend and a caregiver as a friend as well. And certainly a leader who looks at his leadership in a very interesting, compassionate and caring way. I was so excited that you found our conversation interesting because I believe that you're absolutely right. Vikram, in particular, is very quiet, but usually it is hard for caregivers to talk about their own stories. It is hard for us to, express that we have really gone beyond ourselves. So I was very excited when you said that you found the conversation interesting. I have found your journey very inspiring. What would you tell our audience about who you have been and what have been your accomplishments thus far?
Right. So how to start? I have been basically Put it out. Okay, my entire story starts from the time I've been born. I was born. I was born with hearing loss in both ears in 1979. Um, at that time, there was little to no awareness about what is hearing loss. I did not realize that I was actually hearing impaired until I was about 1.5 years old. So you can imagine in 1981, a couple, a husband and wife, they get to see this side, very beautiful, very fair skin, blue eyes, and all that. Suddenly not responding to signs. So the kind of shock, the trauma, and uh, the journey they have to take in order to help me to learn how to listen and speak, read, write, and become part of mainstream society is what has influenced my entire life in each and every aspect of my life. And even my brother has also been a very important part of my journey. So when I was diagnosed with a hearing loss, now at that time there were not many examples of people with hearing impairment in
Yes.
situations and all that. And it was actually quite an emerging, it was an emerging disability was emerging as a concept.
Yes.
Uh, um, but I was very fortunate. In fact, I would like to say that I feel that I'm a person with disability. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Because first of all, I have fantastic, very proactive parents, a fantastic brother, a wonderful support system in the form of teachers, support caregivers. There's so many. In fact, I feel very blessed to have been born in an environment where virtually everybody, whether it was a driver or a sweeper or a teacher or a principal or a grandfather, was a caregiver to me in some form or the other. So, and I just don't know how I was so lucky in this aspect. And all that, all these life experience, all the being the beneficiary of so many caregivers, of an affection has influenced me to a large extent. And my outlook and attitude towards life and towards others. So, with a lot of luck, I was able to gain admission into school. I was able to learn how to speak. Sorry, first of all, I had to learn how to listen. Learning to listen was a very particularly difficult journey because for us here in Pasture, sound does not come naturally. In fact, you can make out from the way I speak that my accent is very different. Uh, so they have to teach me how to speak by drawing diagrams of the mouth, indicating where is the lip going to be placed, where is the sound coming from? Is it coming from the throat or from the solar plexus or from the stomach, etc. And with another science, and just imagine trying to teach a 1.5, 2-year-old child, he cannot hear in the first place how to say a word, how to say a sound. Take a quite a long journey, but my parents, with a lot of persistence and perseverance, were able to make me learn how to say my first word. And then a word became a sentence became a paragraph became a page became a book, and so on. It kept on building up in terms of difficulty and aspirations. And my parents were understandably thinking that they will be very happy if I can just finish my fifth class. When I finished my fifth class quite well, then they said, okay, how about we finish the 10th class, pass my 10th class. Okay, then 12th class, then graduation, then post graduation, and so on. So every barrier being broken down because of all the caregiving I was getting. I
Yeah.
kept on breaking barrier after barrier.
Yeah.
Uh, so up to the time I would say that up to the time I was in college, my MTA, I was kind of living in a cocoon in a very safe environment with a
Yeah.
very fixed routine, with a fixed set of friends. But when I started working, that was my first real exposure to the outside world, to the real world, where people may or may not be understanding,
Yeah.
may people may or may not be willing to empathize, and so on.
Right.
So that was when I had to grow up a lot. I had to go through a lot of ups and downs, a lot of emotions, a lot of happiness, sadness, all the usual up and down.
Yeah.
And I had to kind of figure out how to navigate my way through life. But in
Yeah.
a sense, I also felt that I started learning how to be a caregiver to some
Mm.
extent because when I started working, I was kind of guiding the people around me,
Yeah.
my managers, my companies, uh, about what it takes to be an inclusive environment, how to
Mhm.
communicate with me, how to ensure that they treat me based on merit and not sympathy. So I was kind of like a caregiver for the company. I was with my colleagues, with my friends, my relatives, and so many other people. In some companies, they are absolutely fantastic to work in. They were, and some companies, they are a little bit touch and go. I will tell you more about that. So, so now that I've been working for 20 years, but in parallel, uh, because of the influence of my parents, we started a non-profit school for hearing impaired children called Shunye.
Yes.
Shunye in Hindi means listen. So,
Suniye. Yeah.
profit was started in 1995. So, I used to play a role of a volunteer there from the very beginning from 1995. And then after 15 years, I have been increasingly taking a leadership position because now I matured. I grew up and I said, okay, I've done quite well in life. And
Yes.
of course, they know into doing better and better and reaching greater heights. But at the same time, I felt now I have the maturity to help others, to be an ambassador, to build up the hearing people's confidence, to tell them that if I can do it, the one of you, to
Yes.
be a,
Absolutely.
to be a caregiver for other hearing impaired children. I have almost 100% hearing loss. If I'm able to do like
Wow.
this, how about people with 50%, 60%, 70% hearing loss? They definitely can do so much more. Being hearing impaired is one thing, but having the confidence, the drive, the motivation, the support, the caregiving, the other giving is so crucial. And I believe I'm a very strong person by nature, primarily because of um, all the support, all the caregiving I got from my parents, my brother, and I cannot count thousands of people. I've lost track of how many people are there who help me. So that's what I've been doing, and for the last 20 years in particular.
I'm getting goose flesh.
Yeah,
It is such a powerful and
thank
such a lovely thing. I have only heard about your mother, but I can
yeah.
only imagine what an incredible, inspiring person she must be.
Yes, both my mother and my father were very inspiring people, and my brother also. Um, Particularly, my mother was a very, I just don't know how to describe it. Well for me, even now. So, but my mother was a person who gave who put aside her own life and dedicated herself to helping me and Vikram. I will be very honest in saying that after I was born, a lot of my father's and mother's attention was spent on me. Less attention on my brother. I always feel that as I grew older, I felt very lucky that my brother actually did not make a fuss about it. Not once, I cannot remember any instance of my brother coming to me and complaining that you're the favorite son, or going to my parents and telling them that they're not giving him adequate amount of time, they're not giving him equal attention. I cannot remember that. And my brother was always very supportive towards me. He was a very good student. I was a very bad student. I'm quite a decent student, getting good marks, just about passing and sometimes. So my brother also used to give me a lot of support. Whenever I felt down, my brother was not very talkative, but he would say something which will kind of make me feel okay. I can deal with it. There have been lots of ups and downs in my life, but I always felt that my brother had my back. And that is something that really made it easier for my parent. I feel it made it easier for my parent to give me more attention. My brother was particularly good in studies, so my parents didn't really have to worry too much about it academics. In fact, I don't know if Vikram mentioned that when he was in the 12th class, my father was transferred to Pondicherry. So
Mm-hmm.
my mother, and myself, we moved to Pondicherry. My brother stayed with an uncle. So from
Oh,
the crucial academic year, he stayed with his uncle, and he actually did so well in the 12th class. So they were willing to. My mother could have stayed in Delhi, but she did not do that because she realized that she had to give more attention. And I was only in the sixth class when I went to Pondicherry. So
yeah.
now my brother has been of great support throughout the years. Um, and I've always been talking too much about my father and my mother, but I've never really talked about my brother too often because, brothers take each other for granted to some extent. But coming back to my mother, she was, I would just like to imagine her as a young mother
Yeah.
having to having a hearing impaired side. I'm very sure that there were people who used to tell her that it is your fault. That it is because of you, some karma, the usual backward thinking of something.
Yeah.
And but how she just simply ignored them, and she completely focused all her energy into making sure that I did not miss a single speech and language therapy class, painting class, music class, nothing. She was always there. In fact, for the first 3, 4 years, I was going to the AIMS, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, for classes, I think 1 or 2 times a week. It was on the fourth floor. Even now, I remember how my mother was not very comfortable using the lift, and I used to be taken to AIMS after school, so I used to be third. And I was not a light kid, I was quite a heavy kid, but she used to put me on a back and carry her me up first staircases. And it happened so many times. Then after that, she will carry me back down. Then she will put me into a public bus. And later on, my father got a car or sometimes auto rickshaw, and then go for the next class, and then come back home. My father also sacrificed a lot. He had to become even he was a police officer, but he really had to become even more disciplined just to ensure that there was no compromise with my education.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he used to wake me up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Knew that he had only 2 hours with me in the morning because after that he had to go to work. I go to school or nursery or whatever. So he had only the 2 hours in the morning from Monday to Friday. So he used to get up extra early. He will do the house. He will wash clothes by hand. And there was no washing machine at that time. He used to wash clothes by hand. He used to do a lot of household work. My mother used to go and cook in the kitchen. Up from 5 o'clock to 6:30 or 6:45, not 1 minute was wasted. It was a continued education thing. He'll be taking a class with me, even when I'm in the bathroom taking bath. He'll be telling me this is hot water, this is cold water. When you brush your teeth, why is the froth coming out? How is the steam coming on the mirror? He kept on looking for each and every excuse to teach me something, to teach me another, to teach me alphabet, something like that. Then after I went to school, then I will take my classes, and after school, my mother will take over. My mother will take me for classes, and then when I come back home, then she will ensure that I do my homework. I go to the playground. By 8:30, I was off to sleep. This was my schedule for maybe 7, 8 years. Constant discipline, Monday to Sunday, with no compromise. So my father, my mother, my brother sacrificed a lot for me, and what I am today is because of the three of them primarily. So that's what I mean. I can go on and on, but this is in essence the kind of support I got from them, the kind of caregiving I got from them, which has influenced me, my mentality, my attitude, and life.
Yeah, no, I think people who have caregiving experience make extraordinary managers and leaders. I think not just the fact that usually women are caregivers and women tend to be nurturers, so they tend to focus on their families, but when men are caregivers, like in the case of your father or your brother, who would have seen caregiving from so up close and personal, I think it would have informed their personalities, which would have translated to their workplaces, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, that's a great point. Like Vikram spoke so much about how he has been just a caregiver, but I was not really surprised because
Yeah.
because I've met a few of his friends over the years, and I've just have not heard a single word of complaint about him from them. He called, there's a joke going on between my brother and me that he has adopted almost half of the planet. Everybody has a daughter or sister or brother. He has adopted so many people, literally speaking. Uh, Everybody has so much of love and affection for him. He has sacrificed. He's willing to put aside his own comfort to ensure that he can help others. And I don't know the kind of that was the attitude he had. My mother, uh, my mother also. See, I will tell you one thing about my mother. My mother was much before I was born, before she got married. She did have aspirations of becoming of joining the government or doing public service, and she
Mhm.
had everything. And but for some reason, she did not get into that. And then I was born, and marriage happened, and then life happened. She was posted in Goa, Ladakh, and then she came back to Delhi. Vikram was born, then I was born. So, like a typical Indian woman pushed aside the entire life in order to look after the children, to look after the house, to be the woman of the house, and all that. So I distinctly remember one or two instances when my mother and I we now sitting together having a cup of coffee or just sitting on the bed in some quiet corner and talking to each other, confiding in each other. So my mother actually once in a while she used to cry and she used to say, I wish I could have become an IAS officer. I could done something. I wish she had that inclination. And I always used to tell, and sometimes she also used to say, look at the other ladies, they have jobs, they have money. I don't feel sufficient. I don't feel I'm on the same level as them. Every time she said that, I used to just stop her and say that you are way beyond them. The kind what you have done, nobody could have done at all. I used to call her a force of nature. In 1995, when Chile, the non-profit was started, my mother was the core of it. She was the chief, she was the president, she was the janitor, she would go out and fight for the rights of the children to be admitted into schools. There was so much of resistance to children being admitted in school, regular school, not the daily school, not specific mainstream schools. And she used to go and fight for the rights of the children with the education department. And she was the wife of a police officer, but even then she had no ego. She was more than happy to go even to this small in TT school in some village to sit down with them and plead with the principal to please admit the child with hearing impairment. She had she put aside all our ego. She could have said, I'm a police officer's wife. You will do exactly what I say, otherwise I will do something to you. But she never did that.
Mm.
Always present, always very cajoling, always talking to the parents. She used to keep calling up the parents and say, have you done the homework? Have you taught him or her speak the language? Have you done this? Have you taken them out? She kept on calling up to him like a mother to so many children. And it's not possible to describe the kind of impact she had on the children's life. One of the greatest lessons I learned in my life was uh, today, nobody cares that my mother was the wife of a police officer. Nobody cares that he was Joan's daughter. Everybody remembers her for only one thing. All the support, the caregiving she gave to each and every one of the children and the parents and the schools and society. Everybody will remember it for that. I'm now 44 years old, but if I meet somebody whom she has helped, that person will immediately say, I miss your mother. She was the only person who supported me when nobody supported me. So that impact was something which is cannot be measured. My father was a police officer. Many times many times I saw my father using his position as a police officer to help somebody. In fact, he gained a great reputation for being a person who will do his best to help you if you have some really serious problem, whether it is a minor problem or a major problem, he will help. Even if he felt that that person is not worthy of help or whatever it is, then he will say, he will give advice, he will say, I cannot do this, but you can try this. But by and large, uh, my father has helped tens of thousands of people. My mother also tens of thousands of people over the years. So I felt that my father was a caregiver in the day he prays. He was a person who cared so much for his staff. He kept on trying to elevate them. He kept on trying to make sure that even my mother, they kept both of them. I cannot talk for me, both of them as single entity. They kept on trying to help each and every person around them, whether it's a driver or an operator, a constable, or commissioner of police. They did not care about what their level in society was or status in society. They had no such understanding of the status of society. All they
Mhm.
understood is that person is help less people for her. And not that so, my brother has helped so many people over the years. He has talked about it so beautifully in his conversation with you. But he helped me a lot. He helped me when I was in a 10th class. I felt very nervous in the 12th grade because I realized the magnitude of the 12th board examination, what it means for me to be going to college. For that, I needed to have good marks. My brother used to just sit with me. He was doing it in the final exam, I think so. But he used to sit with me and he would tell me, don't worry, everything will be alright, you'll be fine. Just concentrate on your studies. If you have any questions, come and ask me, I will explain to you. So that support was always there. So he has always had my back over the years. So
I find that it is interesting in the times that your mom had to care for you. It was very natural for her to be expected to leave her, if she was employed, leave her job. Even today, many women will drop off the work to focus their attention on children, and that is important. That is certainly important. But as we move into the future, I think workplaces need to be slightly different. Workplaces can be slightly different, so that, like, I find that very poignant, that your mom should say that I wish I could pursue my career. I wish I could pursue, do something that makes me feel good. It is really nice that you said you are way beyond. But, she also had her dreams, and this happens a lot, that caregivers um, have to hold
sacrifice.
their dreams, uh, or reshape their dreams. So, for example, you can say that, she reshaped her dream in setting up Sunye or Sunyo, and said, set up this organization through which supporting so many other families and helping them integrate into the mainstream is such an incredible impact.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, quite agree that I've also seen the role of women in society with the years. It keeps evolving. How the role of women society, very the corporate or home or whatever, from the time I've been born up to now, it keeps changing. But
Yeah.
one thing is very constant, to be honest. The woman, there is the inherent mindset. I do not know why that women are expected to take care of the home while the man goes out and interpret. But I
Yeah.
think that's changing. I think that is because society has created this kind of a culture.
Yeah.
It is not just our parents or grandparents. It is also the companies, the government, and so many other things.
Yeah.
It's just a cumulative effect of so many people's bias, prejudice towards women. Um, I
Yeah.
personally feel that if a woman wants to go to work, nothing like it. But at the same time, I also feel that if my mother had chosen to work while when I was young, I
Yeah.
don't know what kind of an impact that would have had on me as a person, but that is a very selfish way of thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe I could have done even better, or I could have done as well as, or I could have done even worse. I don't know. That is something I will
Yeah.
never know. But one thing
Yeah.
I'm grateful for is that my mother chose to set aside her dreams and dedicate herself towards me and the non-profit and my brother and family, because I feel that I will be nowhere near what I am today without my mother having given up her dreams. I feel very bad about that, but uh, the only thing I can do at the moment is to justify, to make my mother feel proud that what she did was worth it in the end.
Yes, yes. No, absolutely. What she did was worth it, without doubt, but it was also in a context, right? So the context was that there was no other organization like Sunye, or there was no other organization that recognized that she could be supported to balance her caregiving with her career. So one of the things that we are saying is that, she has, or many others like her, have had to make certain sacrifices. And if we are more sensitive and aware, maybe we can create a new society and a new system in which she doesn't need to make so many sacrifices.
Yes, 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 absolutely.
Right? What if there was a better support system, that she could manage your care? She could ensure that you had access to the speech therapy, to the classes, and everything else. But she also had a little time for something that she wanted to do. It could be, you know, we could learn from that experience.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I do agree with you. One thing I keep thinking about it because of my own experience in non-profit. One thing I keep thinking about is that society is constantly evolving and it's
Yes.
constantly correcting the mistakes of the past. And if we keep making mistakes, but it keeps improving bit by bit, it's something which is never ending. My attitude towards a lot of things at the moment, not within the last 40 years. If I made a joke about something maybe 20 years ago, today I will not make a joke about it because I will understand the context better. So I'm evolving as a person. That is possible only because of two things. One is I'm educating, I'm making an effort to educate myself. Secondly, I'm keeping an open mind that yes, there is scope for me to learn something, that there is some other perspective to learn. And more importantly, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect at all. I have to just simply say, okay, I'm not perfect. That is the most important thing I had to learn. Because everybody thinks they are great, they are fantastic and all that, but we are not perfect. And we have to learn from our own mistakes first and foremost and keep learning from others. My grandparents have been such great inspiration to me. But even they have also made mistakes. My parents have made mistakes. My brother has made mistakes. My wife has made mistakes. I have made mistakes. Everybody keeps making mistakes. You're all just learning from each other and evolving. So I think society is definitely going to improve, particularly for women. for everybody in general in the years to come.
Yes, no, well said. I think it is important to recognize that the world is changing and we can learn from these experiences. And if we were to design both society, we cannot design workplaces in the absence of society, and society is deeply influenced by the kind of workplaces that we have. So
Yes.
if we were to look at modern times, and if we were to say that women should have access to workplaces, to financial independence, and to leadership roles, then our society needs to have many more support structures so that the caregiving does not fall squarely on women only, on mothers only. Yeah. So we need some more support systems, both in the workplace as well as in society in general. So, you have been a part of some wonderful multinationals. I would like for you to think back about some of the policies, practices that enabled an inclusive workplace. And what would you want many more organizations, like you said, some were touch and go,
Yes.
uh, to have?
Yes, I will do. So I will just go company by company.
Okay.
My first job when I was doing my MCA, Masters in Computer Applications, like any other young man, young person, I had no idea what I wanted to do in life. I was just happy
Yeah.
to then enjoy life and go with the flow and just because I did not realize the magnitude of the challenges that life it throw at you. I was very immature at that time, and so I did not understand. To some extent, I did not understand the difficulties of getting a job. There was
Right.
a dot-com bust going on. So IT companies were going downhill. They were not hiring and all that. So in the first place, as a hearing person, the one thing I could not do was to hear on the phone because I'm very dependent on lip reading. So when I'm talking to you, I'm always looking at the person. If there are
Yeah.
10 people talking, I will look at the one person who is talking the most and concentrate on him and make up the conversation, make up the rest of the conversation on my mind.
Right.
Then I will be able to understand the flow of the even to today I do that. Even with all the technology I have, I still do that. So I was not in a position in the first place to pick up the phone and call companies and cold call and say, I would like to do my internship. Can you give me an opportunity? No such thing. Email was just starting to come into the market.
Right.
At that time, I had a hotmail.com account.
Yeah.
It's so old now in for me. So, but I did not know whom to email. There were hardly any websites. There was not much information about the company.
Yeah.
So my father happened to know somebody through that person. I got connected with Nuclear Software, and I want to give a very special shout out to Nuclear Software company because they took a chance on me. I think I was the first person with hear impairment to be hired by them. So for them, I was also kind of an unknown entity.
Yeah.
There were more questions than answers. They did not know whether I would be able to survive or I would be able to do a job
Yeah.
or whether
Which year was this, Vijay?
nu- this was
Which
in 2002.
2002? Wow.
2002. So I did not. They did not know which.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, they had never had a person with hear impairment before, and on top of it, I could not talk on the phone. So I was actually, but my father arranged for the interview. He spoke to the management, and I got an interview with them, and they liked what they say, what they heard. So they gave me an internship for 6 months, and I was getting 2,000 rupees per month. For me, that 2,000 rupees was like royalty, like princess. That was the first time when I felt very special that I'm earning something. It was nothing, but I was earning something. I felt so proud
Yeah.
of myself. And I cannot forget the day. I'm sure too many other people have gone through the same experience, but I cannot forget the day that I got my first salary as a check of 2,000 rupees. So when I came home, I gave it to my mother. My mother was crying. My father was very proud, but like a typical South Indian father, he will hold back his emotions. He will not say anything to me. My mother put the check in the temple, and we all prayed. So on nuclear software, to their credit, because when I joined the company, I felt a little bit weird because I was going from a very safe environment. Some of my friends who knew me and
Yeah.
put me on par to a completely new environment where I was going to meet all kinds of people whom I've never met before, whom I did not know whether we have the time to understand. So, but my manager in UK software, Mr. Pratun, I'm very grateful to him. He did not make me feel for even a second that I'm a special person or I'm being treated with sympathy. He expected the same amount of performance from me as anybody else. But he also made sure that if I needed some kind of aid, he would give me the help without making me.
Nice.
So that was my first experience. And he spoiled me to some extent because he made me feel that, okay, if a person like him coming like this, then I will going to be a breach. But I was not a kid, as I think I meter.
I want you
So,
to pause at that time because, one of the things that we say is that managers need to be compassionate. Yeah.
yes,
And managers who are compassionate actually get a great amount of performance out of people.
yes,
My managers who have been kind and compassionate to me
yes,
got
yes,
me to deliver best performance, right?
absolutely.
They kill
Absolutely.
you with your kindness.
No, too much. Um, and the team was just brilliant. They just did not care that I was wearing hearing aids.
Yeah,
They just treated me like any other person, and we all talked about it to enjoy a cup of coffee, go for a cup of tea, on gossip, or
nice.
have a pakora, or we work. We had a lot of work. We were working quite a lot, and my office was in Noida. So I was
Oh,
going there by office bus and coming back by office bus. But throughout the entire experience of I was there only for 1.5 years. Throughout the entire experience, I had the best possible start to my corporate career. I could not have asked for a better start. Even to
nice.
today, I sometimes think I didn't leave the company, but life is like that. You make decisions. So, and one person, there were one or two people in the nuclear software who I'm in touch with even to today. Mr. R.P. Singh was the president of the company, Mr. Nismita was the founder, and now he's the chairman. These two gentlemen, they have always been giving me great support, encouragement throughout my entire career, even after I left nucleus. Not once have I ever heard anything but encouragement from them. Whenever I keep in touch with them, I send a WhatsApp message to them. And they will always say, fantastic, well done. Something, that words of encouragement. And those are the kind of people I feel I would aspire to be.
Nice.
I'm sure that they will never admit it, but the kind of impact, the caregiving, the affection, the love, the caregiving they gave to me is something which has made me so much better as an individual, as a professional. Because I completely agree with you. If you treat the employee right, they will give you more than what you expect from them. They will go beyond the line of duty. So that's something. Nuclear software is a beautiful company to work in. Then I was about in 2003. Now,
Hmm.
at that time, when I was about 23 years old, 23 years old, I was uh, always living with my family. So I always had this feeling that my parents do not think that I'm capable of doing so many things. Like any other father, even now, I think I will say the same thing to my daughter. I hope not, but my father is, you don't know anything about life and all that stuff. Typical, neither you as a son or daughter. So I felt I would love to get an opportunity to go out of Delhi and live alone or live on my own. Then, because I wanted to get that experience, my brother was living in a hostel for 3 years in Manipur,
Yeah.
3 4 years. So he had gained an experience in independence, and that helped him so much. But I did not have that experience. And in fact, when I think I told my parents once or twice I would like to go to your house. They just pressed me aside because they were not comfortable with allowing me to leave the comfort of house of the
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
So then I got a job opportunity in Hyderabad in a company. That for me, I spent about 2 years in Hyderabad. Now that experience of living now, I would think when I moved to Hyderabad, the first challenge from my parents was how will they communicate with me? Because
Yes.
up to that point of time, mobile was just emerging in the market.
Yes. Yes.
Nothing called WhatsApp, there was nothing called data. It was all SMS. And national SMS used to cost 1 rupee per SMS. It's too expensive at that time. So my
Yeah.
parents were very worried about how they will be able to communicate with me. So I
Yeah.
thought, no problem. That was when my father and mother learned how to SMS for the first time in the life. I was quite comfortable with SMS, but for them it was adopting a new technology in their 50s was a big challenge. Anyway,
Yeah.
they then came down to Hyderabad. I took up a paying accommodation. Of course, somebody known to my father helped me with that and all that. And I made a lot of mistakes in my 2 years in Hyderabad. Mistake ranging from how to make a tea. I could not make a cup of tea. I actually burnt the bowl of while trying to burn. I completely forgot about it. I was watching tea. I came back and it was on fire. I also made mistakes with my credit card expenses. I swapped a few times thinking that it is paid for and all the auto debit or something. And my bill ballooned up to 25,000 rupees. When my salary was less than that. Then mis- mistakes after mistakes, but the kind of mistakes I made was such an education for me. It helped me to grow as a person,
Yeah.
as an individual, as a professional. And the company I worked in, I got an opportunity to be a part of the company. But I would say to some extent, the, the, the empathy was missing with my manager. My manager actually told me that he called me aside for a meeting about 3 to 4 months after he joined, and he actually told me that you will never be able to survive in the corporate sector. I think it is better you just leave the company or
Wow.
leave the job. Don't be in the corporate sector. That was my shock. That was a huge shock for me because I have never been. Nobody has ever told me anything like that.
Yeah.
But I did understand it because I would always with the right people, with understanding people, with educated people. And so for him to tell me that was also education to me. So
Right.
at that time I was angry with him, but today I'm grateful to him because I feel I learned something from his mistakes. It made me understand what I should not do as a manager.
Yeah.
So anyway, now story cut short, I was laid off by the company after 2 years because there was a big downswing in the IT industry. So that was for me a big shock because for the first time when I was facing a very adverse situation over which I had no control and there
Yeah.
was nobody to help me. There was
Mm.
nobody to help me. I thought, okay, I will try. I tried for about a month or two to get a job in Hyderabad, but I was just not able to because I was not able to pick up the phone and talk to people. When I prepared a resume and sent it to certain companies, the moment they came to hear that I'm here in Bath, they would just simply back off. I'll just keep quiet and just think, going. So that was my experience in the market. So then I decided I cannot do anything more than that. So I came back to Delhi. When I was going through this emotional upheaval and mental upheaval, and I was staying with my parents. I suddenly did not feel good staying with my parents, even though they never said anything. And I know they will never mind it, but I did not feel good because I felt I'm a grown up man. I'm still dependent on my parents. I'm still dependent on them financially. I felt it didn't make me feel good. Then I thought, okay, I will try for my higher studies and all that. But after 6 months, nothing was happening. Fortunately, life is all about beautiful coincidences, magical moments and all that. One lady just sent an SMS to me. Her name is Ramachari. She is a person who is of great influence on my life. I call her my elder sister. I hope you get to meet her sometime. She's in Bangalore. So she sent an SMS to me. Up to that point of time, I had never talked to her. I had maybe met her maybe for a minute. But somehow she sent an email to me or an SMS. I don't remember. And she actually had been hired by Infosys BPO in Bangalore to start diversity hiring, to start hiring people with disabilities specifically. And she came from a very extensive experience in the disability sector. So she was looking to hire people who had the competency, who had the skills to do well in the to make it a success story so that it motivates Infosys to hire more people with disabilities. So somebody told her about me, and after 6 months of repeated rejection and rebuff, I was kind of mentally just given up. Not given up. I'm a very strong person, but kind of cynical. But when I got an email, I was thinking, not another message, about the ignore it, and I said, okay, nothing to lose. And I replied to the email, to my resume. Almost immediately, within the same day, I got an SMS saying that I wanted talk to you, I want to message you about getting a job or something about the interview. So I was taken aback and I was did Infosys. So I said, absolutely, I would be happy to do that. So this process went on. Ultimately, I got a job as a team leader in Infosys. For me,
Nice.
I have very low expectations. I was very grateful to be just hired as a software engineer. Some job, some salary, anything, no
Yeah.
problem. But they actually decided they treated me on merit. They did not take advantage of me. They looked at me. They saw my profile, what my skills are, what my projects are, what my education is, what my disability is, what kind of accommodations I need. And for them, I was also a new experience because they are not hard a person with hearing impairment as a team leader. So anyway, I got a job in Infosys and I went to Bangalore and I'm very fortunate, so fortunate into today that I was made to report to a person called Mr. Abhi Vaidya. And he was also reporting to one person, Mr. Madhusudan Menon. These two people, I cannot tell you how much they looked up to me. They were caregivers. Now,
Mm-hmm.
they were caregivers. They just but they did not compromise on my performance. They expected more than what they expected more and more and more from me. They did not compromise. They did not. They knew that I'm here impaired. For them, I was a new experience. They themselves had never managed a person with disability in their life. So I
Say
was,
more about this, Vijay. I want you to explain this a little more. So,
yes.
your managers you felt were caregivers, but they expected a lot more from you. And how did that impact the team? How did that impact the performance? How did that impact the organization?
Okay. The thing is, for Infosys, the primary why they wanted to hire me was because they wanted to build up a team of people, employees with disabilities, first and foremost. Secondly, it was also kind of like a experiment,
Mm.
a proactive experiment to say, okay, we try, let's try, rather than say we cannot do this, we're trying something.
Yeah.
When I was made to join this project, it was a new project, a new team. So my manager and my senior manager were also very hungry to come up with something excellent, something which
Mm.
justifies the creation of such a team.
Hmm.
Only team in the project. There were no other people. There were maybe one or two software engineers who were junior to me or who were freshers. So they
Yeah.
expect me to take on the responsibility of creating products, of creating solutions for the clients in the telecom sector, yeah, sales, marketing, or in business services, etc. Pretty telecom. At the same time, upskill my team members, software engineers. Some of them were call center work. They had no technology background. So I had to train them on how to do software engineering, how to do programming, what is it, .NET or SQL or Oracle. I had to teach them everything from scratch. But
Hmm.
I did that. So coming back to your question, more managers were trying to achieve multiple things at the same time. They were trying to first and foremost the priority was always very clear that they want to create a center for excellence, a team of good, highly qualified people, whether they are disabled or not, but people who are able to contribute to the company, who are able to make the company a little bit further up in terms of skill set. At
Yeah.
the same time, they also wanted to ensure that I succeed.
Yeah.
They realized that I was not a very high maintenance person. I was not a high maintenance person. I was quite free smart about things. The only thing I could not do was to take part in phone calls. So my manager used to sit with me, take part in the phone call, and tell me what exactly need to be done. But majority of the times, communication was not a problem because the campus was such a big campus, or the client was sitting within the campus. Could just walk up to the current building and sit with them and talk to them face to face. And all I'm a manager always briefed each and every client that it is Vijay Krishnamani. He has a here and heart. Please don't worry about communicating with him. He can meet you face to face. He can talk to you. If he asks you to repeat once or twice, please do so. But he will perform exactly, he will do very well. So they never say, oh, Vijay is a hero person, so please be sympathetic towards him, nothing like that. They made sure that the expectation from me was exactly the same, if not more, as compared to others. No sympathy, all merit based. That was such an important thing for me because, frankly speaking, when I joined Infosys, my confidence was at the all time low. I had
Yeah.
lost confidence in myself to some extent, and I should have not lost confidence in myself because nothing went wrong with me. The environment, there was something. I was not getting the right caregiving. I was not getting the right empathy. Others mistakes. So, but I was young and mature. So I took it to heart. So in first, I was so hungry to prove myself. I thought I was going 7 days a week. I could not stop thinking about work. I did not have a Tuesday and a half. I was going on Sundays and Saturdays, but I loved the work. I enjoyed it. So these spend
I
about
find this very valuable. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Vijay. I find this so valuable that to have your perspective of, there are some managers who have empathy, and it is very important for managers to have empathy if they want to. It's not just important to be able to hire a quote unquote diverse candidate. It is equally important to make sure that that candidate is successful. Now, in order to do that, you have to have the right balance of empathy and performance orientation,
yes,
right? It is not to say that just because you have empathy, you will not expect performance. They are not mutually exclusive. You can have a lot of empathy and compassion, and you can deliver the best performance.
okay.
And if you did that for one person, that one person will do it for five other people, and so on and so forth. You
Gee,
can create a ripple effect.
you're spot on in this. Gee, how my manager influenced me both in UK and in the Infosys. They treated me so well. They about um even like real life enactment of how our business interview for good managers. Even like that. whatever they were doing was influencing me as a manager. So when I was managing my team, my past leadership experience was when I was managing a small team of software engineers in Infosys or Infosys BPO. Now, there were kinds of people in my team. There were people who were, I think one person was from a slightly rural area, one person was from the city, there were male, there were females. So they had their own cultural sensitivities, their own challenges. But I made sure I found myself unconsciously, automatically gather into them at the same time making sure that they understood the performance was important. But I also knew that at any point of time, if they had a problem, I was just an SMS or a quick talk away. I was more than happy to stop what I'm doing, take them for a cup of coffee. My go-to approach is, "Chalo, you go for a coffee." I love that because I feel when I have a coffee, you can just relax, no adjustment, nothing, just relax, be friends, just talk it out. And communicating is something which is such a powerful tool for caregivers, for managers, for friends, anything, and you name it. Talking is such a big thing. So I used to take them out, have a cup of coffee on once a week. I meet at the front every Friday. We used to go out and have lunch together somewhere in the campus or outside the campus. And that created a very nice environment in the team. Not once in my 4 years did I ever face any problem from them. I just told them, listen, you come when you want, you go when you want. I don't care about it. Just make sure that whatever we have discussed to be done for that particular day, please do it. If you are finished at 2 o'clock, bye bye, go enjoy it. That was my attitude towards work. And in fact, I also follow the same thing. Mom, once in a while, if I felt that I finished my work, I want to go early and enjoy myself. I would say bye bye to them and go. I never used to sit and to keep an eye on them to make them sit till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and never put nothing. Oh God, I did not expect them to do something which was beyond what was expected of them because I knew that they had their own life. Let them live their own life. Let them enjoy themselves. After all, what is the purpose of earning money if you're not able to enjoy life? They're also young people. I was also young. You have boyfriends, you have girlfriends. You want to spend time with them on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So go out and enjoy yourself. So that was the kind of
Absolutely. I think having, having not just empathy, but a fun quotient is so important, right? Uh, I want you, Vijay, to talk about some of the other organizations and some of the best practices that you have found to be valuable. So, in both the sense, one, what has been your experience of some best practices? And let's say if you were to imagine a workplace of the future, yeah, what do you think could be some of the practices that workplaces could adopt?
well, that's a very great question. Um, I would say for me, the fundamental principle for a great workplace is empathy. Because
Empathy.
empathy applies to each and every aspect, whether it's human resource or training or whatever. I don't know, any each and every aspect, people management, software engineering, artificial, anything. Empathy is the most intrinsic aspect of everything. I feel that even when we're making a product, or whether you're making a, a clay pot, or you're making a menu, or you're making a mobile app, or you're making a enterprise product. If you create empathy at the core of it, which will help more people to use it, which will help more people feel comfortable using it, you have one something great. You have one something called happiness. People are happy to use your product. They don't feel that they are being used by you. They feel that you are holding hands together and going through the journey together. One of my great inspirations is Satya Nadella, for example. What Satya Nadella has done for Microsoft is a huge example. He himself was a father of a boy with disability. And if you compare the image of Microsoft pre Satya Nadella and currently, where people used to think of Microsoft as a very cold, money-minded IT company, all set to dominate the world. Today, when you think Microsoft, if we, Microsoft is trying its best to make it different, a real different to people, like whether it's a corporate or individual. Of, for me, I was very soft corner for Microsoft because of the, even for Google, Apple, because of the effort they are putting in making their product accessible. I'm a huge beneficiary of Microsoft products, of Apple products, of Google products. I
Mm-hmm.
feel these companies have enabled me even more. So coming to your question about what are some of the best practices, empathy is the first thing. Secondary will be creating a very inclusive work environment where we try to cater to each and every possible category of workers. For example, for we were talking about women, about the difficulties, about the compromises they have to make for the work-life balance, um, about creating more opportunities for them to work from remote. The pandemic was such a powerful thing for us. It helped people to work from home, to spend time with the family, to achieve both the career and the family life seamlessly. So for women, even for men also, I believe that remote workplace, hybrid workplace is something which is a very powerful enabler. It's a great best practice which must be implemented. And something, another thing is community-based initiatives or support networks. A company is not just they. I believe a company is not something which is not an entity which exists for only for making money. Money will come. In fact, you will get way more money if you create a great community within the company. Each and every person from various walks of life, whether they are old or young or male or female or trans or whatever LGBTQ, anything, any aspect of any perspective, any aspect of them, if all of them feel that there is an environment where they have the freedom to talk, the freedom to listen, to understand each other, to get support from others, to get caregiving from others, to be in a position to give caregiving to others. That is such a powerful enabler for the company as a whole. If we make the policies better, if we make the environments better, if we make the product better, if we make, and not just within the company, it will also have a great positive effect on society in general.
Yes.
And another thing is training, advocacy, and awareness. I'm a great believer in that. If
Mm-hmm.
workplaces can create more awareness about what is caregiving, what is the what are the policies, what are the approaches the people should take in dealing with it. For example, in teachers, data consultancy services. Of late, about 1 to 2 years ago, we created something called a disability awareness training program. It's a short program, about 1 hour program.
Mm.
Where people get to understand the basics of what is disability, why do we need to include the disabled people? What are the business case? What is the business case? What is the scenario? So all these training, application, awareness programs is not just targeted for people with disabilities. It needs each and every person, horizontal, vertical, outside the company, inside the company, learn how to create a better, more inclusive environment which enables each and every person to achieve their fullest potential. So these are some of the intrinsic attributes.
I was thinking about it, and I was just trying to understand what must it mean. So please allow me this. What must it mean for someone who has a hearing challenge to look at lip reading and understand that, in order to be able to do their work, in order to earn their living, in order to, be a fully performing individual? Now, when I'm interacting with you, I find that I'm speaking a little slower. I'm trying to make sure that, I'm mouthing my words properly. And I'm trying to make sure that I'm connecting with you. For sure, my empathy or my level of sensitivity is going up because I'm interacting with you in this way, and that's a great gift for me. And I think I will be I will be a happier and better person, also a better person, because I have been able to have a connection and this conversation. And I'm so grateful for for our interaction, for this conversation, and more than that, your energy and enthusiasm, and above all, your parents who were such incredible caregivers and who gave us this gift.
Yes, thank you so much. I mean, it was very nice of you to talk about how. In fact, I also noticed that you were making an effort to slow down a little bit. And in fact, at the beginning of the conversation, I told you that I asked you whether you have captions, but this tool did not have captions. But I was flexible enough to say that there's no problem because Google Chrome has an extension with
Yes.
captions. So, with the right kind of technology, the right kind of mindset of the person, anything communication is not a problem for hearing impaired people. For me, there are many other people, but I must say that there are many other hearing impaired people who have not been able to learn how to listen and speak. So for them, the challenge I feel is even greater. They prefer things like sign language, or they prefer things like writing or chat facility, or there are so many. But there are so many new technology coming out which is making communication so seamless. So you, the best way to say is that you and any other person, when you come across a person with disability, the moment you gain a small understanding of what it takes to have a great conversation with the person, you are developing empathy, and
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
and that empathy is just a great enabler. So I'm enjoying my conversation with you so much more because of your understanding the one or two things, the small adjustments you have to make without uh, inconveniencing yourself,
Yeah,
or without making me feel that you're doing something extra. You're just
yeah.
having a normal conversation, yeah, achieving it.
Yeah, I was reminded of in your case, given your circumstances, there's a certain way in which you speak, and I have to listen into you in a certain way to follow, because I am not so used to. But I was reminded of my father, and my father had a neurological condition because of which later in life his speech became slurred and it became difficult to follow. And we had to learn at the time to follow him, and to be able to have a dignified conversation, which is to, make a little effort, sometimes once in a while ask for a repetition, but mostly, slow down and learn something new. So it is not just for people who may have hearing and speech challenges. Sometimes life can throw a different reason for you to learn a new skill.
Yes, yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. For example, even for me, like one thing I learned when I was in India, I did not, if I met a person for the first time, I would usually be able to understand them lip reading. I will be able to lip read them very well, quickly, because Indians speak in a very with a little bit of with a lot of lip movements. The
Yeah,
lips are very clear, very pronounced.
yeah,
And it's very rare to find a person in India who did not speak with full use of the lip or facial expression or hand movement.
right.
When I came to Singapore, one of the greatest challenges I faced was with because there is so much of diversity of cultures. You have Chinese, Malay, Tamil, other foreigners. I
Yeah.
found it very easy to understand the Malays because the Malays and the Indians have the same kind of exaggerated big movement. But the Chinese people, they speak in a very limited, their mouth is smaller or thinner, and they don't
Yes.
open the mouth so much. So I found it very hard to understand them.
Mm.
Over a but over a period of time, we kind of pick up. Even now, I'm not perfect, but we pick up clues about what they were talking about. Um, I made some Chinese friends. When my friends and I became more friendly with each other, we became like good friends. Then I told them about my hearing loss, and then I explained to them about my dependency on the breathing. Why sometimes I make them repeat themselves. To my surprise, I found that they were actually trying to make an effort to speak like Indians. I think
Wow.
I would say that they were trying to speak in a more pronounced manner. They also would automatically look at me, even if they were talking in a group, they would look at me.
Mm.
Yeah. And sometimes, if I did not understand the conversation, I had no problem because I could always tap on the shoulder of the person sitting next to me, and they would immediately explain to me what is the conversation about. So communicate. So I never used to lose out on. I never lost out on conversation. Maybe you talk to my brother one day. I just love talking to people. I just love talking to people. I love socializing. Mm, I can just cannot stop talking. I want to talk.
Notice. I
Uh,
notice. It's so delightful. It
yeah.
is really delightful.
Now,
Uh,
I have to tell you one small story about my talking. When I think in the fifth class, my mother used to come to school at about 12 o'clock to pick me up from school to take me for classes. So now I was a pretty good student, never misbehaved, never threw tantrums, did my homework on time and all that. To my mother's surprise, she saw me standing outside the classroom one day, which was a very rare punishment for me. So she was taken aback and she thought that something really must have happened. So when she went to the teacher and asked her why she made me stand outside the class, the teacher told her that I was need to stand up for talking too much in the class. My mother, instead of being upset about it, was very happy. She said she was like teaching like a testament to our teaching our son how to speak, how to talk.
yeah.
So that was what when we talked about it, I was did reminded of that.
Yeah.
So, and I feel that my talking and talking unconsciously, I love to talk because I feel it took me so much of a fact to learn to listen and speak. So why should I not make full use of it? Is it my right? Otherwise, I like it and all. My brother doesn't like talking to me sometimes. He just simply cut the call or say, okay, baba, 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 and he go away. My father, if it's my talking 2 times a day, and 99% of the conversation is me. I'm asking the question and answering the question. But I'm okay with that because I feel my father enjoys that. Because my father feels very happy to be listening to me. Even to today, my father, I do make mistakes in my pronunciation sometimes. So my father will keep correcting me. I don't like it, but he keep correcting me in my speech, in my language. But my father is almost 80 years old. Even to today, he's still so interested in teaching me how to speak correctly. He's so interested in that. And so that is something which I, I don't know.
I can only say that you have enriched this conversation. I hope that you speak and spread the word to many many people. Thank you for the inspiration. Thank you for how well you have done, and how well your parents and your brother and your manager have been such managers have been such great caregivers. I take away the idea that empathy is crucial, to live a full life. Empathy is crucial for businesses to be successful, and empathy is essential for society. So, thank you for that lesson and thank you for that experience. Anything that you would wish to say so that we can bring our conversation today to a close?
Just one thing to say. First of all, what you're doing is something which is so nice. It's so good because you are encouraging people to talk about what the caregiving is because we don't realize it until we think about it. When you gave me the question, I was thinking, okay, I did not think of it this way. I did not think of myself as a caregiver in the as a son, as a father, as a husband, as a brother, as a manager, as a professional. You know, we are all caregivers in a way.
Yes.
I think the more attention we give to that, the better, because we actually elevate us in our approach towards other society to ourselves as people. And I have to say this that uh, my family, my wife, my daughter, in fact, I feel that my daughter, my wife are people who are making me so much better. I feel that when I have a daughter, I'm thinking, how did my father manage two children? How did my mother manage? And so when I'm managing my daughter, I feel that I have so much to learn from my daughter more than I have to teach her.
Yeah.
My wife also, she herself is a person with glaucoma condition. So my wife has also been a teacher to me in so many ways. She has been a caregiver to me. I have been a caregiver to her. The impact, the difficulties she has faced in her life, the difficulties I have faced in my life, call it karmic connection or kismet or whatever. The two of us have come together, and we have a beautiful daughter. And so I think about I feel one of my sincerest wishes is that my wife and I and people around me to be able to give a daughter to make our daughter a truly empathetic person, a person who can, with basic approach is empathy. If I feel that my daughter has got great empathy, then I think I've achieved and everything else is falling into place. So I would love to encourage each and every one of your listeners, to your friends, your relatives, your network. Please keep promoting the concept of empathy in your companies, your personal, your professional life, because I promise you, the world will be so much better. You will not understand the impact you have, but it will be so much better, so much more beautiful, so much more kind, and so perfect. So anyway, thank you so much. Really, it was such a nice conversation. I enjoyed it so much. And I think I feel like if it's an interview with no like a free-wheeling conversation into great friends. I would love to have a cup of coffee with you one of these days, and we must do it.
I
Very
look forward. I so look forward to that, Vijay, and on that beautiful idea of, having more empathy in the world and the world being a better place, even if, caregivers have to sometimes let their loved ones go and live in Hyderabad and make lots of mistakes. Uh, Good caregivers would go through that, and we recognize them, we acknowledge them, and we are grateful.
it's absolutely. Yes. I think you said it better. You said it great. You said it beautifully. So I don't have anything to add to that.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so much, Bhavana. Really appreciate it, and thank you so much.